Joined now by Florida Atlantic men's basketball coach Dusty May. Let's get right to it. Ranked for the first time in program history, what does that accomplishment mean not only to you and the team, but the FAU community altogether?
Well, our university, our local community in Palm Beach County and Broward and Dade County, but most importantly, our players, their families, they're putting themselves in position to do something very special, and it's recognition of a lot of hours of work that they put in up to this point.
16 straight victories after the Florida win. They were coming by 20 plus points. Now deep into conference play, you're running that gamut of Conference USA basketball. You have had to gut some of these wins out. How has the team been able to keep this run going?
Well, we have different guys who are able to step up each night and play well. So it eliminates some pressure where we're not relying on 2, 3, 4 guys to play their best every single night. Each game we have a different best player. And we get contributions from so many different guys, but we feel like we're taking everyone's best shot now. We've become a big game on everyone's schedule, so we have to continue to improve and rise to the occasion.
When you look at this stat sheet, and you kind of alluded to it just there, you see a lot of things. You've settled in with this 9-man rotation, 7 guys between 21 and 28 minutes a game. Your top scorers, guys like Elijah Martin and Michael Forrest that were everyday starters a year ago, now coming off the bench. You lead the nation in bench points per game. I could keep going, but walk me through how this lineup adjusted this season and came together, and how valuable is that versatility when you start looking forward to March?
Well, I'd like to sit here and say this is a well thought out strategic plan designed by the staff after hours and hours of deliberation, but it came to fruition. Mike Forrest came off the bench a few years ago, and I don't know what it was, but he just looked more confident. He had just a different look in his eye when he came off the bench. And I felt like he played better. And so I love having a scorer come off the bench, someone that can provide instant offense when you're not scoring well, but also a guy that's really consistent with his effort. And Mike plays hard every single day. And so for me as a head coach, especially younger head coach, there's certain things that give you confidence and make you feel more at ease. And having Mike come off the bench going into the season, I thought that would really help me, that if we didn't get off to a great start, or we didn't have great energy, or we weren't making shots, I thought he would be able to plug all of those holes on any particular night. The other guys, our other leading scorers, Elijah Martin and John L. Davis, they both suffered minor injuries earlier in the season and missed games, and then came back in limited time. And we started playing really, really well, and we kind of fell into a rotation. And so that's kind of when we started clicking, and we just stayed with it. And I'll be honest, I asked both of those guys, hey, are you good coming off the bench? And they both smiled and said, yeah, I don't care. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Those guys know that they're typically closing games. They're playing starter minutes. And also they're sacrificing not having their name on a video board or called out in the starting lineup on the road. So those things aren't that important when you look at the big picture.
Looking at some of the guys on this roster, and you talked about, Mike Forrest being a guy that's kind of gone back and forth in his roles throughout the years, but you've got a lot of guys that you've built this roster over the last couple of years since you've been there. So kind of contrary to some schools that might be, utilizing the portal more, talk me through that approach of, kind of building it from the ground up and getting to this point now.
Well, our goal is always to find the best right players every single year. And the fact that we've recruited a lot of high school players has just been something that we enjoy. The relationship piece, we enjoy the developmental piece. We enjoy being around the same guys for an extended period of time. I was a little bit of a coaching vagabond when I was young, so I was bouncing around. And the one thing that always bothered me was leaving the players and the coaches you worked with. It was just hard from a personal level. And so when you have a choice to recruit guys that can be with you for 4 or 5 years, or guys that can be with you for 1 or 2, we just enjoy having the same group around more. But also just we do believe in continuity. We do believe in the team. Those things aren't coach speak. We believe to the core that those things matter. And the familiarity with guys playing with each other. So a lot of things go into it, but make no mistake, if we can get a great transfer that adds to our team in a positive way, then we're going to do that as well. At JUCO, Division I, Division II, we've taken all of them at times, but we believe as a whole, we need a foundation to return every year if we're going to be our best.
The Owls are coming up on a calendar year without a loss at home, 11-0 to start this season. You see people like John Rothstein talking about how you've galvanized Boca Raton. How important has that support been to the team's run?
Well, I hate it that it's my name on it, and I'm the one that galvanized it, because there's so many hours that have went into this from the staff and players, and most importantly, the players. They've galvanized our community in the local area and the national media because of the way they play, their unselfishness, their spirit, their toughness. That's why people gravitate and are coming to our games. It's not just the wins. We don't believe it's not just the wins. There's more to it than that. We believe our guys play in a way that people will give their most valuable resources, which are time and money, on a Saturday afternoon in South Florida when it's 70 degrees, to come watch our guys play a game. It's special, but I would pay to watch our guys play.
I've got to ask, because I saw that you quote tweeted something, with the giddy up, talking about the Seinfeld reference. Are you a Seinfeld guy? Have you enjoyed that theme taking on?
I'm not a big TV guy. I never, Seinfeld was always on when I was growing up during basketball time and afternoons. And I was never a big Seinfeld fan until I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. So Larry David is probably, I think our staff might quote Larry David every time we have a meal, or, there's just certain things. So I've watched maybe a few Seinfelds over the years because of Curb. But yeah, I enjoy it. And obviously I've seen the Kramer clips and the giddy up. So that's something that we've said through hoops for years. When things are going well, giddy up. So it's just been kind of a thing that I thought was funny.
That's great. Well, thanks again for taking the time today. Best of luck the rest of the season, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.